In this video, I'm going to talk about physics, philosophy, and mathematics. In the time Newton existed, he proposed a mechanical world, a mechanistic world. And after he proposed his theories, his worldview, educated men thought that all of the universe was known and everything could be expressed in mathematical Newtonian formulas, in the Newtonian conception of reality. But then a young man named Albert Einstein came that changed radically how we conceive the world. And with his theories of relativity, he stated a universe that is counterintuitive, that it's opposed to our common sense. In the same time that Albert Einstein proposed his theories, there were a group of mathematicians and philosophers of mathematics that realized that there were logical errors in Euclid geometry elements. So a new group of mathematicians created the non-Euclid geometry, which was the one that Albert Einstein used to explain his theories. Newton used the Euclid geometry, while Einstein used the non-Euclid geometry. And after Albert Einstein came, everything became more confusing. Everything became less clear. With new scientists, new scientists proposed new theories like quantum mechanics, for example, and like that states a probabilistic universe as opposed to the deterministic view of Einstein. And new theories came, and scientists can link in a synthesis, relate in a synthesis, connect all of these different theories. So there is an structural crisis. There is a crisis on what is truth, how we conceive reality. It was known that science was the one that achieved truth. Philosophers and scientists agreed with that science with its empirical inductive method was the adequate to understand reality and measure it. But what happened? Albert Einstein came and everything became more confusing. So how can we understand truth? How can we achieve knowledge? How? This is a problem that philosophers of science have fucked. And it's that, look at this. The theories, the scientific theories are models, are actually, there is actually an interpretation by the observer, the scientist, in how the world is. So scientific theories are like contemporary myths, are theories with in part an objective view, but in part a subjective factor. So if science it's in part an art, in part a subjective factor, how can we exactly understand truth? We are probably very, very far from achieving truth, if that's the case. What if the world of reality, it's actually archetypal and not just mechanistic, like analytic psychology from Carl Gustav Jung conceived the world? What if the world is archetypal, symbolic, esoteric, mystical? If that's the case, what can we do about that? If that's the case, it would be very difficult to achieve truth then by science standards, because science standards tries to understand empirically, mechanistically, the universe. Or maybe if we create new technology and new theories, we can measure those metaphysical planes in order to understand the ancient spiritual questions. I think scientists should be more open-minded to philosophy, to question the epistemology that are leading them to question the structure of science. I think that science is the most reliable way to understanding reality. I just proposed a different perspective, but actually I am more on the side of science. I think science it's epistemologically correct, epistemologically right. It has the perfect method to understand reality. And yeah, the theories, the models are have in part a subjective component, but from all the methodologies, science is the one that it's most reliable. And even if it doesn't have the total truth, at least the method, even if science doesn't know everything, at least the method, it's the most reliable. It's most reliable than pure intuition or faith. Faith is not reliable in order to understand the world or reality. It's not reliable. Objective thinking, systematic thinking, experimentation, it's more reliable. But maybe there should be a bit of things that should be fixed. Maybe a new theory that can unify these disparate theories of physics. A new technology that could measure the more metaphysical planes. I think it's a difficult conflict that exists in science. And this is all the video I wanted to. This is all what I wanted to talk about. And in my point of view, science is most reliable. I will study physics because I am more interested in objective truth than anything. And I think that science is the most reliable method to understand truth. Maybe if science is experiencing a structural crisis, I think that it's the perfect way to understand, to achieve knowledge. That's my point.